I think the way we should start this is by talking about your morning routine. Your morning is probably the most important part of your day. I mean, you know the saying, like, breakfast is the most important meal of your day? That pretty much stems from the fact that the way your day starts has almost ultimate control over the way you see things for the rest of your day. An easy way to get ahead of the downward spiral that can come from a bad morning is to eat something good. Even if you're not like a big breakfast person, just eat something simple, like an apple or a bagel or something. Anything that gives your stomach a little bit of activation for the day. Just a little boost. Personally, I really like pickles. I'll grab a pickle, put it in my mouth, and sit there, gnawing and gnawing and gnawing, and maybe like one more gnaw. Then I'll spit it out, grab some garlic, and rub it in between my thighs. This can help produce testicular synergy throughout the day. If you aren't sure about what this is, I can explain. You know when your balls are offset, just like a little different heights, Well, they say that that's so they don't harm each other by being right next to each other, like not enough room. Well, that's actually a myth. Most balls can actually develop an inferiority complex by being below the other one like that. Oftentimes, it can lead to testicular abuse that, if left untreated, can lead to testicular depression, which is very hard to treat. However, if your balls are left untreated, there's still hope. I've actually been in this situation before. We had to purposefully cause this to happen to ourselves for a group project in undergraduate school. So, what you do is you take an apple, any size, and you put it on your head. After that, you walk out into the street and ask the nearest person to shoot it off your head, like in Robin Hood. Now, what this does is tell your depressicle that you're ready for danger. The depressicle will then slowly open itself up to the possibility of a more exciting way of life. This hope can prevent some of the negative side effects such as testicular cramping and also E. coli. Anywho, this can all be avoided by just rubbing garlic between your thighs like the good little vampire hunter you are. Yeah, sorry. And if you are a girl, you can skip the step entirely. Unless, of course, you're trying to seduce a vampire so that when it goes down on your 7th layer of hell, it's met with the viperous sting of garlic ingestion. Fatal for vampires in many canons. Now, onto the second way of telling if you're on your path to success. Do you feel fulfilled after a long day at work? Now, of course, I understand that a lot of times you need to take a job that you don't necessarily want for many, many reasons. But do you feel like you have an idea of how to get where you want? Personally, I want to become a chiropractor. That's why I took psychology, of course. So, after classes were over for the day, I would sneak into the medical building, specifically the one that the people would deal with the cadavers in. Cadavers being a human corpse meant for analyzing. After I got in there, I would cover all the cameras so that no one would see my face. At this point, I've already gotten a master key for the building from my roommate Marcus that's doing a work study for the medical division. He has a surprising amount of clearance in the building. So, with that problem out of the way, I would tiptoe through the corridors and find room 213. That's where they would house the cadavers the night before they work with them. Once I've entered the room, the cadavers are already right there for the tackling. So I, a psychology major way out of my reach, would uncover the bodies and practice my chiropractic skills on said cadavers. Now, I wasn't a pro at the start, so there were many, many corpses I may or may not have split down the center. This was often caused by my roughhouse technique I picked up from the Spinal Bro on YouTube, link in the description. So I would take the arms of the cadaver, pull them behind the back, place my foot in the center of their upper back, and pull as hard as I could. Sometimes, this would cause an arm or two to separate from the rest of the cadaver. Sometimes, it would simply just cause them to snap in half like the frame of a 90s Chevy half-ton that sat in a humid climate for too long. Clearly, I was out of my depth here. But did I stop? Absolutely not. Now, I knew that if I kept trying, I could become the best chiropractor on this side of Rhode Island. The situation got so bad that there was actually a warrant for my arrest out for the so-called corpse killer. Being me, of course, but I don't expect them to understand that. You see, I didn't. I didn't mind, though, because obviously I wasn't actually doing anything wrong. They just didn't know that the corpse killer was a chill guy training for his private practice. Now, anyways, step 3, jumping jacks. If you're not jumping, you're not jacking. And you're probably not yet understanding the importance of good cardio. Now, good cardio can lead to a lot of great things in your day-to-day life. A better mood, better breathing, better sex life, or running from the cops because they eventually found out you are the Ohio corpse killer from 2003. And the lead detective never let this case rest because one of the corpses was his daughter that died in a sexting and driving accident, and she was donated to the school for medical practice. Okay? And even after this case went cold, he kept cracking away at it in his free time until eventually it led back to you. Now you are sweating profusely, okay? You know it's only a matter of time before Detective Doug Michaels catches you slipping up while you're trying to get a visa to Norway to finally leave all this in the past and live a simple life. Sadly, Detective Douglas J. Michaels has different plans for you. He let all the American border agencies know that there would probably be a federal criminal fleeing the country after he questioned you at your home. He obviously identified you to the agencies. Douglas J. Michaels was right, and now you're in a federal prison serving 3 life sentences for the mutilation of 342 human corpses. On to step 4, an optimistic outlook on what your future could become. No matter how grim it feels, while you've been locked up in Louisiana State Penitentiary for your crimes against humanity, there's been one thought on your mind. How can I get my cellmate Felix to stop humping me when I have my back turned to him? Now, this constant state of fear can cripple many men, but with a positive outlook, you can think of a time where they'll finally accept your request to stop cellmates, or even better, finally get Felix back for all the times he's taken your manhood. One day, you may even realize you can turn your bed springs into a makeshift shiv to take Felix out once and for all. Once you've created the shiv, just out of the curiosity of it even being a possibility, you stay up for hours and hours past lights out. You stand up to see if Felix has let himself be vulnerable to possible attacks. Meanwhile, you're pretending that you just have to take a whiz, alright? After about 20 seconds of urinating and observing your possible stabby, you realize his back is towards you, and you have the opportunity of a lifetime. You turn towards the bed, walking slowly, feeling each breath as if it's the last breath you'll ever endure as a helpless victim of the perpetrator's abuse. You take the spring shiv from behind your back and you hold it to his neck. After what feels like hours of running through the possibilities in your head, you finally take the shiv and stab his arms and legs. Felix is a much larger man than you are, so you felt you needed to even the playing field, but you would not resort to the animalistic impulses of your oppressor. He screams in pain, and you tell him firmly that you will no longer live this kind of life. He gets up. Rage seeps from his skin almost to a boil, and finally he lets out 5 simple words that will haunt you for years to come. I'm literally just a boy. And then he does a silly dance. The guards pull you from the cell. You spend the rest of your days in solitary confinement, wishing you had chosen to just stick to psychology. That's what you paid for, isn't it? Finally, step 5. Bathe regularly. It can help your mood, and also it feels good. So I would do that. Also, don't stink. It's gross. That's all for today. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me, the Axonator. Sorry I haven't posted recently. It's pretty hard to stay consistent while you're in solitary confinement, but I find my ways. Stay safe now, and subscribe to become the real Mr. President. Peace.